My name is Sean Merkley. I am a partner manager at Fishbowl. So I oversee our software and technology partnerships, people that build third-party apps or third-party integrations to our Fishbowl software. I work with them closely, and I've been super pumped about the partnership we've been able to build with ConverSight.ai. When I first got approached by them about a year and a half ago, they showed me their platform and all the tools and products they have, and I was just blown away. And I thought we need to get more of our customers apprised of this new partner, and get them using Fishbowl at an even higher level of what they are using it as today. And they've been able to deliver. I think we have a good handful of customers already using ConverSight.ai with Fishbowl. It's been a great partnership. And as you guys can see, we have 3 panelists with us today. We're super excited to have them to talk to us about how they've used ConverSight with Fishbowl, how it's improved their business. But anyway, I don't want to take up too much time. We're happy to have ConverSight do this demo and do this a webinar for our customers. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jordan and let him take it from here.
Thanks, Sean. For everyone, I'm Jordan Howard. I'm our Director of Business Development at ConverSight. Sean, thinking back on it, it's been about a year since we've been formal partners, and with great panelists and customers that we have with us today, the integration has only gotten stronger and deeper, and been able to answer a lot of the questions to enrich your platform. So it's been a fun journey. I think we're in the 30s or 40s of different customers that have had different nuances and different use cases for us. So with us today, and we really appreciate 3 of those customers. We have Cait with MAVPAK, Michael with Thermo Bond, and Steve with Extract Production. I'll give you guys a minute here in a second to introduce your role. But wanted to give everyone on that's not familiar with ConverSight a little context of who we are and where we fit in the supply chain space. And I'll try to be brief because I know you mostly wanted to join to hear from them and not from me. So ConverSight.ai, it's an easy way to remember it, is conversational insights leveraging AI. So this ability to be able to just naturally ask questions or have the system know what you're looking for and proactively give you information. As we think of all of the great data that Fishbowl is capturing, we want to be able to get that to your fingertips, where you can start to make informed decisions and make decisions quickly in the ever-changing supply chain space. ConverSight as a whole is only leveraging our technology within supply chain. So over the last few years, we've really started to look at it through a supply chain lens. And amongst that is partnering with systems like Fishbowl to get the most out of it and to get some of those insights. We are working with a lot of consultants to make sure that we're mapping this, working closely with Sean's support team to make sure that we understand all of the system that is Fishbowl. How we go about doing it is we integrate a smart assistant that we call Athena. You can think of Athena as a well-connected supply chain SME or an AI analyst. In the instance of this partnership, we're collecting all of the data from Fishbowl, pulling it onto our platform. We do have some customers that will speak today that we're also pulling some information from Excel and other areas that might give a full end-to-end visibility into your business. And this is all pushed to you in the form of insights and recommendations. And that's what the panelists are here today to show you the workflows that they have. And we'll walk through how we interact with this smart assistant that really is an extension of your team and another employee that you can start to look to hire. But with that, I'd like to let the panelists introduce themselves. And Cait, we'll start off with you. You guys have been our longest running customer. I know we've done a lot of partnership work with you. Maybe from the very beginning, if you want to just touch on what you were hoping to enhance in Fishbowl and how you're using it a little bit today.
Sure. So my title means nothing to what I actually do at our company, but it's kind of my job to make sure we get the right information in front of the right people at the right time. And we were just starting our Conversate partnership when I came on about a year and a half ago. And we really are just trying to get the information that matters the most in front of the people that need to see it when they need to see it. Fishbowl is super robust. We can do a lot with it. It's almost overwhelming for some of our team. And so we are working with Conversate a lot to kind of simplify the information so that you can actually act on the information you're looking at.
Awesome. Michael, I'll pass it over to you. Maybe a little bit about your role and why you came to ConverSight for this integration.
Yeah, you bet. My role here is also many hats as a supply chain manager, kind of a sales manager at the same time. Also, I have a brief forays into the production roles as far as worrying about scheduling as well as supply chain material lead times and such. So kind of overall, just kind of help everything kind of flow through. I've been here just about 20 years and have seen an entire evolution. We've had Fishbowl for a little over 12, and it's always been known to be a good system. And things maybe could just use a little refinement, and that's really what we found Conversate to be able to help us with. Sometimes the reports that we would have or could generate would be almost everything we'd need, and to make decisions and to kind of help the day-to-day run. And through our work with the Conversate folks, we've been able to really smooth that over quite rapidly. It's been wonderful.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. We'll come back to all of them and get into the platform with them. But Steve, I'll pass it over to you, and then maybe we can start to get into the platform after you give a quick, brief intro.
Thank you, Jordan. I'm Steve Carpenter. I'm a member of our supply chain QMS team here at Extract Productions, and a big reason for us, going out and searching for ConverSight was we struggle greatly with some of our independent factories, if you will, when it comes to some of our reporting metrics. And so what we were looking at was a way to pull all our data together and get better visuals for it and just make it a cleaner, smoother look and easier to interpret for members of our team, so that we could kind of tie in some of our historical knowledge and tribal knowledge, if you will, to actual visible metrics for our team to make good decisions off of. And we're all very pleased with what we've seen so far. So Jordan and his team has done a lot of really good work for us, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. And Steve, thanks for that. And I think we'll stick on you for a minute and start to get into the platform. As one of our newer customers, it's been a lot of collaboration with you. And I thought for everyone here, it'd be a good opportunity and exercise to walk through the logic that we get to for a recommended purchase order and go through some of the dashboards. This is one of the modules within ConverSight. This is where you'll really start to get your visibility. And these dashboards can be created within seconds, but out of the box, we do create a couple dozen dashboards. And what we'll talk with Steve right now is the logic we have ultimately to recommending purchase orders in a more dynamic way. So the first area that we look at is a sales forecast. And Steve, I'll hand it over to you and sort of drive if you want to elaborate on a few of these dashboards.
So for us, we enter a sales forecast, right? And this comes from a third-party report that we have outside of Fishbowl. We actually have a sales team that integrate directly with their customers, and they pull all that information in. And this was one of our goals, was to tie that in with our historical data and what ConverSight can do for us. And so we create this sales dashboard here, and it plans from the BOM level components all the way down based off the parent level assemblies, if you will, on what we're predicting on pretty much a month-to-month basis all the way through. And we had the capacity, in doing this, we saw that we had the capacity to drive almost week to week, month to month, quarter, whatever the drive for it ultimately wanted it to be. And it was just an incredibly robust thing for us to go through and see. And it was very, very enlightening on the recommended purchase order side, seeing how that tied in historically to what we were doing. But having that metric where it takes in what we're doing from a supply chain point with our sales, what we have on order, what our shortage demand looked like over X amount of timeline was incredibly helpful for our team. And we've already seen some impact from it.
So this first dashboard we're showing, this came from an external piece of information that we integrated. And then this next view you mentioned was this overall sales summary. And the different ways. I know if you want to touch on some of the looks that you were looking for around margin and things like that, maybe for a quick second.
Right. So one of the things that we wanted to tie in was we wanted to track our trends with customer revenue, item revenue, and kind of what we were doing for it, so we can make better decisions on what regions we would not support, what product lines we would and would not support, and if maybe we could somehow impact our inventory planning based off when we see a dip in our profit margins over a month-to-month basis. And that's really one of the things that we were hoping to see from this. And for us, we've gotten that information in spades, all the way down to individual profit margins by individual customers, product line, and even sometimes on our off the rack finished goods as well. So it's been a very exciting thing for us to see.
Awesome. And then just to give a little visibility, and then maybe we'll skip ahead to that actual recommended purchase order. As Steve mentioned, we'll be looking also at vendor history and that spend. I don't know if there's anything on this that jumped out at you from a spend side of things that you wanted to touch on.
Well, I actually will do this. So for us, like I said, I was part of the QMS team here, and having this metric allowed us visibly to kind of tie in that to our vendor risk levels here. So this report what we see here directly tied into that. So even just from this, it's not about how much we spend with them. We got to see obviously the total amount of money, but then it was inventory volume and turnover by vendor. And that really helped our quality inspection team out quite a bit when we went through and assigned our vendor risk grades.
And I know we touched on, we spent a lot of time in this, just understanding your overall BOM hierarchy. If you want to just talk a little bit about the complexity of the business and how this is helping from a BOM perspective.
So I'll give a little bit of background here just real quick. One of the things that we struggle greatly with is actually planning to our parent level parts, just the nature of our business. So we have a singular component that is a commonality across several different product families. And so we planned down to that, and then we use these reports that we have within Conversate to drive historical consumption off of those. And that gave us a percentile of parent level consumption. And from that point, we started to plan all of our BOM hierarchy components as well. So going through there, and for our supply chain team, actually being able to see visibly and forecast an entire BOM now based off the sales summary rather than this one singular part was a game changer for us. It made a very huge impact for us. I mean, traditionally we've had one single component for it, and then we either pipe everything else into the purchasing line, if you will, where we're overstocked, or we keep a ton more inventory on hand than what we'd rather like to. And from this, we feel really confident that we'll be able to drastically trim down our on-hand inventory and limit the amount that we put onto our purchase orders as well. So it's a very exciting tool for us to have.
And I'll touch one last thing, if you don't mind touching on, is ultimately this whole exercise is to get you to an automated state within Fishbowl where we can start to recommend these purchase orders. If you want to just touch on that workflow, and then we can move over to a couple of the other panelists.
Absolutely. So we're driving 2 points from it. So we get our sales forecast in, we run our BOM hierarchy, we bounce it against our inventory and on-hand POs, and then we bounce it against historical consumption as well. And from that, we get our recommended POs. For us, it's taking in our on-hand inventory, our on-order inventory, and what our lead times are to make its recommended PO, when we should order it, and the quantities that we should order in total there. One of the things that was an important deal for us was capturing shortage issues on hand. And we were able to do that beautifully here. It's very, very intuitive for us to capture. And it's been another great asset for us to have.
Awesome. Thank you for walking us through that. I know it's been a few weeks of working on this. I think that it's been a good partnership. I think we'll move over. I appreciate that, Steve. And I know there's been some questions in the chat. We'll handle some of those at the very end. Make sure we get through the panelists, and then we can answer any questions and throw them to the panelists. But I want to go over to Michael. Michael, you use this in a little bit of a different fashion. It's more from a project-based planning perspective around just overall work orders and some labor productivity. I'll start by maybe going out to this dashboard and this report that we've created around your work order amendment details. And if you want to touch on the exercise that we did from what you were doing before and now what you're able to do with Conversate.
You bet. We actually build telecommunications structures, which unfortunately have a relatively unique bill of material for each one. So that presents itself with a lot of challenges. And what we've been able to do here is with the work order amendment details is be able to keep track of things that are added to the Fishbowl manufacturer order in nearly real time. That'll help us for anything that maybe doesn't get caught during the auto PO process within the Fishbowl. Also lets our purchasing folks really focus on their normal day-to-day tasks, but without missing parts that are in maybe up to 50 to 65 active manufacturer orders daily. So this really helps us capture that. Also, it shows the dates that we are starting each work order and created scheduled things like that, so they can really take a look at the lead times as well of the materials and make purchase order recommendations.
And the other angle that we wanted to start pulling in for you was around labor. If you wanted to just touch on the integration we've done and what you're trying to capture with labor productivity.
Yep. Right now, our labor reporting is a separate system that we actually input this for. I think it's every 30 days. I think we go and we capture everything and put it in for past projects. We have a lot of our customers will want to do the same building maybe multiple times over the course of their time with us, and it might span several months to several years. And this will allow us to go back and look at previous projects that we worked for them to see the labor, and then we can use that to anticipate what their future projects will look like. And then also as a scheduling component, as those projects are sold and pushed into the manufacturer orders, we're able to schedule our labor resources with a little bit of a twist that we're finding now. We can schedule our labor resources as well as inbound materials when they finally get here with the current market things that they are having with the supply chain issues. Sometimes a few small parts could really change our plans there. So this is helping us forecast all that.
And I know we've spent a lot of time with you around just overall inventory and matching it with the work orders. One of the other things that we spent some time on was this work order part shortage and,
yes,
and that monitoring. If you want to touch on this one.
Yeah, this gives us the flexibility to move common parts through work orders that are, I guess, more ready to go than others. When we're trying to schedule our manufacturer orders and work orders, we ask our plant managers to take a look and make sure that they have the materials that they need. Sometimes they will need to, I guess, route from one to finish another based on schedule slipping of a PO, maybe from the inbound parts. This is able to let us look at the parts that are needed and then when POs are coming in with those specific parts and the dates they're expected to fulfill, so we can at a glance move that project ahead or behind or back in our production flow. This is something that's we've had it relatively short time in comparison to some of the other functionality. Everyone seems to love it though, so we've had nothing but positives on this regard.
Awesome. And I know there's been some other visibility. Anything else that you wanted to touch on from a reporting or just functionality perspective that maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 plants and about 100 different people that may need information. either out of Fishbowl or out of the ConverSite platform. And the biggest thing that I think that's helped us is the flexibility on how they can see that information, the custom exports, push it off into a view that they want to see. Our main Fishbowl core users, I guess not really to the Superloot user level, but the people that were always being tasked with, hey, can you show me what this looks like and show me this? Their time per day of doing those sidetrack actions has gone to just about zero. So that's a good thing. Everyone's able to find the information that they like in a format that they like, or they want to see it, and they can retain that themselves.
Awesome. That's great feedback. And
Absolutely.
we've reduced that significantly. Thank you for all that. And if you don't mind sticking around for some Q&A at the end
Sure.
from some of the participants. Cait, over to you. MAVPAK has been our longest partner. A little backstory on MAVPAK is they've actually been a customer of ours for a few years. We started to work with them right when they got Fishbowl and really started to use them as a development partner to find out what we can enhance within Fishbowl and worked closely with them. So Cait, from your experience, I know you guys have seen tremendous growth in the Indianapolis area and expanded your warehouses and the services you provide. Can you talk about the challenges that presented and how the technology integration with Conversate has helped you guys in that growth?
Sure. So we've had some pretty explosive growth in the last couple of years, specifically this past year. And one of the challenges we have come across is some of our customers that are maybe headquartered here in Indianapolis, they have another site in California that, they'd love to use our services too. They'd love for us to be one of their vendors. And we operate primarily a vendor managed inventory system for the things that we sell our customers. So we've come across a couple of different challenges that Conversate has helped with. One is how we get the information from our customers that we need that are out in California or in New York or somewhere in between that is not Indianapolis. Just how we get the information we need from them that makes life as easy as possible for them. So what we have done with Conversate's help there is we've created a couple of dashboards, first of all, that can show our customers what exactly they have in our inventory. So what we're holding for them. This makes life easy for them. They don't have to take up space in their warehouse with their product. We just ship it to them as they need it. And so they don't have, dead inventory sitting around or inventory that they just don't have space for. So we've created a couple of dashboards for those customers to really be able to see what they have and even down to where it is in our warehouse so that we can make it easy for them to say, hey, I need some of these things, or hey, can you go look in XYZ place and tell me, are there 3 bundles there or 4 or something like that. So it just makes giving customers information a lot easier because we actually give those customers access to Conversate. They don't have to call us and hope somebody answers or send us an email and wait for a response to be able to find out what they want to find out that they probably need to know right about 20 minutes ago. So Conversate has helped us really make it easy for them to see, what they've got without having to involve, this person who is your contact person who has to ask 3 or 4 other people to get all of the right information for you.
And as you can see, the visibility and as we've grown into the system, that ability to show the customers all of the different views are just dashboard or just different reports that those customers were requesting from them. But I want to shift gears a little bit in terms of we've showed a lot of reporting and dashboarding that it's made your lives easier, but a little bit more of the interaction with Athena and the automation that it can create. Can you talk a little bit about the experience your sales reps and the team has when they're in the field or just trying to get information within Conversate?
Sure. So our sales guys, when they're on the road, they sometimes will be talking, they'll stop in to visit a customer and get their order counts for the week or whatever. And sometimes someone randomly stops you when you're in the hallway and says, hey, do you know when this shipment's coming in? Or, hey, do you know how much we spent on this one order, or something that they can't conceivably have stored in their brain at all times. So by using Athena, they can say, I mean, you're kind of showing us here, they can ask really simple questions and get direct answers immediately, which helps when you're standing in front of somebody who wants to know something, you know, right now. Again, you don't have to call the office and hope that everybody's not already on the phone and someone has time to stop and look up that information for you. So Athena really is kind of an extra employee for us that makes it easy for our guys to, you know, say, hey, I need to know inventory details for this week, or they can ask questions about specific customers' inventory. It just makes it really easy to get those quick answers that, you know, might otherwise be a 10 or 15-minute phone call to the office for someone to find that information or pull that report or something like that.
And we've taken it a step further and started to automate that through some API calls that we can make with Fishbowl. Can you talk a little bit about the sales order form and what the sales guys are doing in the field now that they have ConverSight and access to this type of tool?
Sure. So again, we offer kind of a vendor managed inventory system. So our guys are out there every week counting what we have at our customers to help determine what orders we need to place. So one of the things we have done with ConverSight is built an order form where the guys will sort this list by customer depending on where they're at. And they simply go in and enter the on-hand quantities at those customers' locations. And when they hit submit, then all of a sudden ordering rules that we've set up with Fishbowl trigger those orders. And ConverSight was able to create those orders for us right in Fishbowl. So now our customer service team gets an email that says, hey, this order was just added to Fishbowl. Go double check it and issue it. So it's made life a lot easier for the guys. You know, they used to travel around like this, pen and paper, and, you know, writing down the item number and where they found it and how much there was and what we think we need to order. And thanks to our partnership with ConverSight, now they just pull out their tablet and sort by customer and enter in those quantities, and then the order is placed. So it makes their job a lot faster. They can spend more time really connecting with their customers and making sure we're serving them well, rather than spending all of their time trying to count things and writing it all down, so that they can basically do that all over again when they get back to their computer.
And one thing that Steve touched on, and I'll show real quick, is that same experience you can have with that recommended purchase order. So while it will start to give you those recommendations and factor in some of those forecasts in place, you can also write these POs back into Fishbowl, and it will automate that process. I know, Cait, we talked, this isn't necessarily where you're at in the stage, but
right.
The time savings and the automation here, if you want to touch on briefly.
Yeah, I mean, we've saved a ton of time. Again, we're not quite to the purchase order point with this yet, but we have saved so much time, you know, for people hours of having to go in and enter individual line items on orders in Fishbowl. And again, just shorten the amount of time it takes to get information that you're looking for. So being able to automate this part of the process where I just go in and I tell you I have 20, and then your system just magically knows that it's time to order 100 more. Just being able to automate that process has made life a lot easier for our guys out on the road, but it's also just saved a lot of time throughout the entire process of procurement and everything. I mean, we have information is automated, so you don't have to make 14 phone calls to figure out who has the answer you need, or, you know, you just have all of that information at your fingertips, and it's moving its way through the process to where it doesn't take 20 minutes for us to approve an order with a customer. It takes 2 minutes from the time we hit submit to the time they see that email. So it's definitely saved a lot of time for us, just being able to automate, you know, as much of that process as we can, versus having to spend hours upon hours, you know, writing things down or trying to go to lots of different people to find out what you need to find out.
Wanted to just let everyone know, thank you for joining this. what we're offering now, we know that times get busy, especially in the industries we're in. What we'd like to offer is the ability for you to see your data. With this deep integration that we have, we can turn around the connectivity and put your data onto our platform. We are offering a free access for the rest of the year. What you'll have in that experience is full access to your data on our platform. As we mentioned, we're in the supply chain space, so about 80% of what we have is right out of the box. As the panelists have showed us today, there is some custom work to your nuances. There might be only certain modules that make sense for you to take advantage of in the platform. So in that 6 weeks that you'd be offered that opportunity, we can work with you to understand what those nuances might be, make sure that this works in your workflow, in your process, and there's no cost for the rest of the year. So as you think of budgets for next year, we'll have the rest of the year to evaluate that, and that's for everyone that joined today. So we really do appreciate your time. If you have any questions or you do want to follow up with us, here's my contact information. We do have a few sales reps that will take this forward as well. So just reach out to us, or Sean's team has been great about interacting with us. If you guys do have questions and passing it along to us, feel free to reach out and we can get you started before the holidays and give you access to see if this is something that you can enhance Fishbowl with in 2022. Thank you all for your time. Sean,